at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
Auntie Bev here with another word to help you build your vocabulary during Black History Month. The word is sapphire. It's a noun. A sapphire is another word for a sassy mammy that white Southerners use to describe Black women they characterized as loud, angry, rude, domineering, and emasculating to their men. Sapphire became a popular character on the Amos and Andy show in the 50s. It was played by a woman named Ernestine Wade. Sapphire. Today we know it as a transparent, precious stone. But back then, it was a derogatory term. Add that word to your vocabulary bank and make it your time, your shine. Auntie Bev speaks during Black History Month.
I love Auntie Bev because she's going to give us a new term. The reason why I'm playing this at the beginning of the show is because over the Valentine's Day weekend, I had a conversation. Look at Andy. Andy just smiling. I had a conversation at the cigar lounge. And a sister brought this to my attention. She said back then, a sapphire was a derogatory term, right? A derogatory term wasn't a flattering term for Black women. She said, but if you look up the definition of this term, she said, it'll describe most modern women under the guise of my truth and attitude and boss B and all of these. And she started using rappers, Meg Thee Stallion, Glorilla. She started talking about all of this. I said, whoa, I never looked at it from that lens. And then she said, because of social media, She said, you haven't met an original black woman. They're all derivative of a negative derogatory term, a sapphire. I said, what? Tonight's topic, sapphire purgatory. You in sapphire purgatory? Is modern black femininity derivative? Independence without self-healing is destructive. 1-800-920-1580. I want to know your thoughts. The commodification of black femininity. Is identity now a product? Question, if black femininity is shaped by social media algorithms, are black women still the author of their own identity? Or have they become the product? 1-800-920-1580. And I would say the same is true of men. The same is true of men. Studies on algorithmic bias reveal that social media disproportionately amplifies stereotypes about black women, ensuring that only hypersexualized, hyper-independent, or emotionally unavailable portrayals gain visibility. 1-800-920-1580. The performance of empowerment. Is it healing or just another cage? Question. Has social media convinced black women that looking healed is more important than actually healing? Who wants to have a conversation tonight? Sisters, are you derivative of the lowest part of black femininity in our society? That's what the sister told me. And this sister has 5-6 degrees. She's a professor. She said most black women are simply derivative of a caricature, of a stereotype. They've bought in. Ladies, if you disagree, call me, 1-800-920-1580. Empirical insight. The rise of soft life and divine feminine aesthetics on Instagram and TikTok show that many women engage in performative empowerment, where wellness is aestheticized rather than internalized. Oh my God. You got the yoga pants and the yoga mat, but you don't have moksha. 1-800-920-1580. Somebody talk to me. The hyper-independent black woman, feminist, liberation, or psychological entrapment? 1-800-920-1580. I just said it goes for men as well. Men aren't outside of this, outside of social media's influence. But can you have a conversation about women without bringing men into it? Can you do that? Is it possible? Can we dissect this area? And trust me, I know that we know all too well, men and our toxicity and our control, and we know, and our lack of emotional availability, our lack of having the skill set to actually articulate our feelings. We know this ain't about us, though. Empirical insight here. Neuroscientific research shows that chronic hyperindependence is a dysregulated nervous system response, a trauma adaptation rather than a sign of true strength or self-sufficiency. 1-800-920-1580. The algorithm of oppression. Is social media really just another, or is social media really a digital plantation? If social media algorithms decide which images of black women get visibility, are black women truly engaging in self-expression, or are they merely performing within a controlled system? 1-800-920-1580. Ladies, I need to hear from you because I think only you could answer. Empirical insight. Dr. Safiya Noble's research on algorithmic bias in search engines and social media demonstrates that black women are systematically categorized into roles of hypersexuality, aggression, or servitude, limiting the scope of their digital identity. True or false? 1-800-920-1580. Who wants to talk about it? The luxury of softness. Is black femininity only valid when it's exclusive? Question. If black femininity is now being defined by luxury, ease, and exclusivity, does this mean softness is only for the financially privileged? Y'all want to have a real conversation? It's Monday. I'm here to turn over tables. Empirical insight. Historically, black women's femininity has been defined by struggle and resilience, while recent social media movements push a capitalist version of femininity where rest and ease are contingent upon wealth and materialism. Who wants to talk? 1-800-920-1580. The trauma economy. Is black women's pain more marketable than their joy? Than their evolution? Than their healing? 1-800-920-1580. Get over here. Get in here. Question. If social media engagement thrives on controversy and dysfunction, do black women unconsciously capitalize on their own trauma for visibility? I know I asked the real questions. But do you want to have a real conversation? Social media studies indicate that posts discussing toxic relationships, trauma bonding, and struggle narratives receive higher engagement than those centered on joy, healing, or healthy love. From the ride or die to discard and replace. Oh, no. Oh, no. Are y'all ready? 1-800-920-1580. All right. From ride or die to discard and replace. Have black women swapped one toxic relationship model for another? Yeesh. Listen, this is why I'm the voice of reason. Because I'm not afraid to have these kinds of conversations. We want to have healthy relationships, right? You can only have a healthy relationship with two people that have been engaging their shadow. If you're not engaging your shadow, you or your partner, you guys will probably not have a healthy relationship. It's really that simple. Empirical insight. Psychological research on attachment trauma suggests that both hyper-loyalty and hyper-detachment are trauma responses, meaning both ride or die and discard and replace mindsets stem from the same root issue, the fear of abandonment. I'm over it. I'm over here unbothered. Wrong. That's a post. Your spirit is hella bothered, which is why you posted it. 1-800-920. I wanted Andy like, boy, what you starting? I got to start it. If hypersexuality is framed as empowerment, but it's also the primary way black women are objectified, is it actually liberating or just another system of control? 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. We want to have a real conversation. Here's the empirical insight. Dr. Tommy J. Curry, author of the book The Man Not, former professor at Texas A&M, his insight and his work on black male objectification shows that hypersexuality is a colonial construct, meaning that hypersexual imagery of black women doesn't originate from self-expression, but from external fetishization of the sisters. 1-800-920-1580. Have you bought into it, ladies? 1-800-920-1580. Somebody talk to me. The aestheticization, that's a word, of feminine power. Do black women actually have more agency or just better marketing? OnlyFans? Oh, gosh. Question. If black femininity is now marketed as powerful, does that mean black women have more control over their lives, or are they just being sold a new illusion? Empirical insight. The paradox of the strong black woman archetype is that while it appears empowering, it often serves to justify the continued lack of structural support for black women's emotional, financial, and psychological well-being. 1-800-920-1580. I want to know what you think about tonight's topic, the erasure of multidimensional black femininity. Can black women exist beyond social media's script? Who made baby hair just the thing to do? Who do you understand? Talk the same, look the same, dress the same, act the same. Are we back to the days of sapphires? The sassy, emasculating, disrespectful, bad attitude. Have we normalized the sapphire for today's black woman? I got to ask the question. 1-800-920-1580. Somebody get to me right now. Is it, if every visible version of black femininity is rooted in a stereotype, where does that leave the black women who don't fit the script? 1-800-920-1580. Let's go, let's go, let's go. When I come forward, the voice of reason is going to delve even deeper into this powerful concept. If black femininity is being shaped, packaged, and sold by forces outside of black women's control, then who actually owns black femininity? And is it still a form of empowerment if the empowered identity is not chosen but algorithmically aligned? When we come forward, more from the VOR.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, now I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. or find them on Instagram at WalkGoodLA. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say my name. If no one is around you, say, baby, I love you. If you ain't running game, say my name. You acting kinda shady, ain't calling me baby. Why the sudden change? Say my name. If no one is around you, say, baby, I love you. If you ain't running game, say my name. You acting kinda shady, ain't calling me baby. Better say my name. The other day, I would call, you would say, baby, how's your day? But today, it ain't the same. Every other word is a yeah, okay. Could it be that you are at the crib with another lady? If you took it there, first of all, let me say, I am not the one to sit around and be played. So prove yourself to me. If I'm the girl that you claim, why don't you say the things that you said to me yesterday? I know you say that I am assuming things. Something's going down, that's the way it seems. Shouldn't be the reason why you acting strange. Nobody's holding you back from me. 'Cause I know how you used to do. When you're saying everything to me times two. Why can't you just tell the truth? If somebody's there, then tell me who. Say my name, say my name. Say my name is around you. Baby, I love you. Say my name, say my name. Kinda shady, calling me baby.
Hello, my grandbabies. Don here, your pop culture boy, aka your pop culture grandpapa. I want to talk about the music industry, a strategy the music industry have been utilizing since the dawn of time, and that's the utilization of the copy-paste formula. The industry is filled with carbon copies, a copy of a copy of a copy. And it's not only the music business that fully indulges in the copy-paste formula, giving us lone sons and daughters for decades now, but all industries, because if something works, you do it again and again and again until the wheels fall off that bit. In this video, let's explore the complex and fascinating world of carbon copies in music, why carbon copies exist in the first place, who are carbon copies of today's music industry, and why your faves being replaced won't go away anytime soon. I am Don, your pop culture boy. Let's get into it.
Catastrophic.
The copy-paste formula is a growing phenomenon in the music industry, and a lot of us don't even know it's happening. I have a hot take. The music industry isn't and has never been original from the start. And even if they want to be, they can't, because the music industry is fundamentally a business that relies on mass production for unfathomable profits. And a business like that cannot rely on originality, because originality is risky. And I know a lot of people cry for originality, something new, hip and fresh, but when they get it, they go, what the f is this? Yeet. And whenever the music industry finally brings forth a new pop star that's somewhat original, even that person is a stereotype or a TMU version of someone else that this current generation or audience is unaware of or less privy to. This is why the music industry keeps creating sons and daughters, taking certain attributes from prototypes to build their perfect new and improved future stars. The rinse repeat method is prolonged until the wheels fall off. And even then, the broken wheel is still pushed because a new idea might make even less money. In music marketing and advertising, repetition breeds familiarity, which builds trust and confidence, which can also be linked to nostalgia. A little side note, this also happens in Hollywood. They produce...
Listen! Has black femininity become derivative of a stereotypical term, a derogatory term? Back in the day, they were called a sapphire. Sapphire is a term that can refer to different things. But the term we're using, or the definition we're using today, is not a transparent precious stone, typically blue. No, a stereotype portraying black women as aggressive and overly assertive. Has the sapphire made a comeback? And because of social media's influence, are our sisters being programmed to be sapphire-like? 1-800-920-1580. I want to know, what are some of the similarities that can be drawn between the derivatives created for black women in the 1960s, 70s versus the modern day toxic culture that is heavily promoted? Are we marketing these archetypes as empowerment to ease the fact that we lack leadership, focus, and direction towards higher principles? It's 95 degrees. Huh? What connections can be drawn between attachment styles and these black female derivatives? How might generational CPTSD and epigenetics correlate with the further development of these derivatives? Are you derivative? Every brother thinks he's a Mac and a player and cool, and he thinks that's all he has to be to pull the woman, and plus have a little piece of money. What happens when a woman comes to a man and says, I don't care about your money? You're going to have to bring a higher level of emotional understanding, of self-understanding, a higher level of self-healing. You got to have some self-victories, brother. What if women flipped it that way? But women make it easy for men, right, to show up with their money and their paper and their influence, because women are still attracted to power, right? So you got a lot of powerful dudes who have done no profound, powerful work within themselves. Ooh, are we doomed to repeat toxic cycles with these low vibrational mindsets and non-accountability due to our unwillingness to face who we are and discard who we pretend to be? What connections can be drawn between parental wounds or generational trauma and the adherence to these quote-unquote roles? 1-800-920-1580. Is the sapphire back in full effect? Is Sexy Red a sapphire? Is Lotto a sapphire? Is Cardi B a sapphire? Ooh, is Jocelyn a sapphire? Can we just keep naming? And are these sapphires some of your favorite people to watch on social media? How has our dysfunction been so normalized to the point that we are actively embracing the stereotypes we say we despise? In what way do we contribute to self-sabotage by embracing ideas and archetypes created not by us, but for us, to demean us? When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. Let's get it.
Well, you cannot say my name. I gotta say that I am assuming things. Something's going down, that's the way it seems. Shouldn't be the reason why you acting strange. If nobody's holding you back from me, I know how you usually do. When you're saying everything to me, don't you? Why can't you just tell the truth? If somebody's there, then tell me who. Say my name, say my name. Say, baby, I love you. Say my name, say my name.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The White House is marking President's Day by posting President Trump's mugshot alongside his official portrait, calling it a, quote, comeback, end quote. The 2023 mugshot followed his surrender in Georgia over election interference charges. The NAACP is warning companies cutting diversity initiatives, calling it a direct attack on black economic progress. Their new Black Consumer Advisory urges the community to use its spending power to push for equity, criticizing the Trump administration's efforts to roll back civil rights gains. New York City protesters are demanding Black Mayor Eric Adams resign after corruption charges were dropped. They allege a Department of Justice deal over immigration. Adams denies it and refuses to step down. And Maryland's Frederick Douglass Parade has been canceled after the National Guard withdrew over its Black History Month ties. Officials cite Trump-era policies barring participation in events honoring individuals based on immutable traits. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention parents of high school sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Start the new year with California Baptist University's pre-college credit program. Courses are fully online and the first class is free. Classes start January 6th. Apply for free at calbaptist.edu/PCC.
Are you a recent college graduate with a dream of getting a high-paying job in sales? A job where you can grow a lucrative career in multi-platform audio, digital, podcast, social media, and local events, along with world-class training and career growth opportunities. KBLA Talk 1580, located in historic Leimert Park, is currently hiring entry-level account executives for outside sales. Join a team featuring radio hosts Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornell West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, Dr. Nee Cordelai Corte, Zoe Williams, and our very own Dominique DePrima. For more information on attending our upcoming career fair, contact SMB at KBLA1580.com today.
To the 100 million people who owe the IRS money, this message is for you. We've helped tens of thousands of people close the door on their tax debt. So if you feel like you're stuck in a hole with IRS tax debt, then this is the easiest way to get a resolution quickly. To qualify for a no-pay or low-pay resolution, visit taxclosure.org to get free from the IRS once and for all.
To keep your bank accounts, income, and assets secure, tax closure is your same-day cure.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
As we go a little something like this.
Hey, it is me, D.L. Hughley, and I am thrilled to be heard weekdays in my hometown on KBLA Talk 1580. So check out the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. We got a whole lot to talk about, let me tell you. That's for the real.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh,
Can you be too independent, and is that linked to trauma? The answer to both of those questions is yes. So in this video, we're going to go through signs that you might be hyper-independent, how hyper-independence comes about to begin with, the impact that it has on your relationship with yourself and other people, and steps to move forward. But first, if you're new here, my name is Simone Saunders and I'm a licensed therapist in Calgary, Alberta. I upload weekly to this channel, so hit that subscribe button and that like button and let's get started. So typically when we think about independence, we think of it as a good thing, and it is a good thing. But what also can be true is that when we're too independent, it can leave us feeling isolated. So you're probably wondering, how does hyper-independence differ from independence? So with hyper-independence, there's a drive to need no one and a fear of depending on other people. And typically this stems from not being able to rely on the people closest to them. So if you struggle with hyper-independence, here's 6 things that you might notice about yourself. Number 1, you dislike needy people. Number 2, it's very hard for you to ask for help, and there's a fear of feeling burdensome to other people. Number 3, you have a hard time with vulnerability. Number 4, you're typically very hard to get to know, especially on a deep level. Number 5, you're an overachiever, whether that's career-wise or socially or in some other pursuit. And number 6, you're typically the strong friend. Now, if you're related to any of those, it's probably a sign that you should keep watching. While those who are hyper-independent typically are very attached to that sense of themselves, what's also true is that hyper-independent people typically experience extreme loneliness, self-criticism, or relationships that lack a lot of emotional intimacy. So let's talk about where hyper-independence comes from and how it's related to trauma. Often when hyper-independence develops as a coping mechanism, it's developed because there's a lack of ability to rely on those that are closest to you, and typically that means your caregivers. I've touched briefly on emotional neglect and parental.
Woo! She cooking, she cooking, she cooking, she cooking! If modern black femininity is derivative, what is it derived from? A legacy of strength or an inheritance of suffering repackaged as empowerment? Mary J. Blige, anyone? Oof. Listen to her records. I'm sorry. We're not going to have a real conversation. Music is programming, right? Never mind. To what extent has Western hyper-individualism served black women from ancestral frameworks of healing, community, and self-definition? I don't want a derivative woman, a woman that is patchwork put together from all the other hot girls or it girls. I want a woman that not only discovered what was wrong, but became the internal architect of who she wanted to be. 1-800-920-1580. Is the independent black woman archetype a form of liberation or merely an internalized capitalist model of self-exploitation? 1-800-920-1580. How does a derivative identity function as spiritual purgatory, where one is neither fully oneself nor fully accepted by the society they mirror? 1-800-920-1580. Is the sapphire trope an unconscious mechanism of control, ensuring black women are too emotionally occupied with strength to demand systematic transformation? I got so many questions. We got callers on the line. We got callers on the line. We got callers on the line. Has the sapphire made a return? Have we normalized the sapphire? What is the sapphire? A stereotype portraying black women as aggressive and overly assertive. 1-800-920-1580. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Attila, Houston, Texas, you're up first. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hola. What's up, Keo?
What up, niece? What are your thoughts?
This is so good. Okay. So first of all, I wanted to shout out a comment because Mimi made a comment in the chat and she said, so sapphires are loud talking pretty girls, but not necessarily talented. I think that comes from you mentioning like the sexy reds and gorillas and whatever. I do think that's a part of it. I see them more as opportunists, to be honest, because they'll pivot real quick when the opportunity presents itself. Amber Rose, somebody brought her up, right? Like, now I think she's on the MAGA train, right? So that makes sense because, again, they're going for a gimmick. That's not really who they are. This is an image that they're presenting, right? And we don't know them, so we can't say. We just say what we see. But I think the other side of this, though, is if you're an unattractive woman, you're more likely to get labeled with the sapphire label first. And I think part of that is because there's nothing that's really, like, appealing about your physical presence, meaning that people are not going to tolerate it. So for men, if what they use to barter or to, negotiate is money, women are going to use their looks. So if you don't have that, what do you have? A bad label.
Ooh, come on. Come on, keep cooking. Keep going.
There's so many layers to this, right? There's so many labels to this. And then the other side of this that I think both sides share, whether you're attractive or not, is that desperation to be seen or valued. And to me, that's like the core of the archetype that you're talking about. Because when you value yourself, you're not really looking for external validation like that. To be honest, if it comes, you don't even notice. You know, it just kind of flies across the wayside. So, you know, people are talking about age in the chat too. Age don't have nothing to do with that. You can definitely be an old sapphire, or as Jack he said something about pebbles.
He
is so crazy. I was like, not pebbles, but I mean, like, you could be an old sapphire too. Like, you trying to compete with the young girls. You can't even really mentor or be there for a daughter, a niece, or a sister, or a cousin, because you have yet to resolve the issues that lie within you. This is why a lot of women hate their daughters.
Stay right there. Don't go nowhere. Attila is on fire. Has the sapphire returned to prominence? When we come forward, we shall continue this hot topic.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more? It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes. It's me again. And I'm back.
What I find disturbing in our community, the African American community, is that we can talk about a thyroid, we can talk about cancer, breast cancer, AIDS even, but we won't deal with the mental, and that's an issue. I struggle with depression and anxiety. I would have to say I realized it about 2 years ago. I noticed the mood swings, like, one day I'd be up and the next day I'd be down, feeling like I don't want to go out in public, almost agoraphobic, like, too much to deal with, feeling really awkward in my skin, feeling out of sorts, and just down, like Debbie Downer, like a dark cloud. And then there would be days where my brain wouldn't stop racing, which I would think of the most worst scenarios in the world, which would heighten my anxiety. And, people were like, you just need to meditate and yoga and things like that. And I would do that, but my brain would still race. For me, there was no shame when I started to recognize it. It was like that I have to get some help because I'm the life of the party. And when I go dark, I go dark. I don't want to leave the house. And my friends started to notice me pulling back. And my father, who also had his issues with mental health, was really open about it, about his manic depression. But as I think back, no one else really talked about it. It was hush hush, or he just crazy, or things like that. For my dad,
man, I love Taraji P. Henson. We have to give her a collective digital hug, spiritual hug, because the transparency in that statement was absolutely necessary, because you never know who's listening and who can be positively affected by what she said. She's normalizing the process of looking inward, introspection, maybe even going to get some mental health assistance from a mental health expert. That's the part that needs to be normalized. See, it's easy to post your healing journey, right, on Instagram, because you can fake the scenery. You can fake the activity and send the message that you're on the right path. But the reality of it is, one of the most life challenging and harrowing endeavors you could ever partake in is the spiritual process, is the process of unraveling the self, to reconstruct the self by your own hand. Right? We talk about attachment theory a lot on this show. And if you don't do the healing, you can definitely dress up like you've healed. You can definitely take pictures of plates. You can take pictures of places. But what you can't do, and probably wouldn't want to do, is show what you really look like when you're actually fighting those internal demons. And what I'm saying that social media has done, they've kind of pimped our brokenness. And now brokenness seems cool. Brokenness seems fly. And I'm not saying, just understand this. Brokenness is ubiquitous. Okay, cool. But don't front like you're doing the work when, in fact, you're not. How does childhood emotional neglect manifest in adult relational dynamics? And why is it often misinterpreted as self-sufficiency? Listen to that. I was neglected and I learned to take care of myself, and that's why I'm strong and I ain't worried about nobody else. That's a trauma response, right? Or black women's attachment wounds exploited to perpetuate hyper-resilience as a form of social currency. I don't need you is the new word of empowerment. I don't need a man. 1-800-920-1580. Does epigenetic trauma distort the way black women experience vulnerability, trust, and intimacy? If so, can femininity be reclaimed without healing? Hell to the no. Same is true for brothers. No matter how much money you get and how much power you get, you still broken, Kanye. Oops, I'm sorry. If a strong black woman is conditioned to suppress her emotional needs, does she unconsciously select partners who reinforce this deprivation? 1-800-920-1580. Is the sapphire back? The sassy, disrespectful, emasculating, overly aggressive, and overly assertive woman. This was the term white slave owners and white Southerners gave black women who exhibited this overly aggressive and overly assertive posture. Is the angry black woman the reincarnation of this derogative term? Attila, your thoughts. What are your final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got several thoughts. I was listening.
Go ahead.
Number one, you can't say you don't need what you feel is unattainable. So on one hand, we might say that there's a shortage of good black men, but then you say you don't need them. The real issue there is your lack consciousness. You feel that that's not attainable for you, ergo, you don't need them. That's a deflection. That's the same stuff you would have seen on the playground. Somebody gets rejected and they're like, fine, I won't be your friend. Like, that's kind of what that sounds like. It sounds immature. So there's some maturity there that needs to happen, right? Number two, the comment you made about the masters or the white overseers, they set that dynamic up, right? Where essentially they want the woman to be over the man. Like that, this has been engineered in us since the days of Willie Lynch. We were just talking about age a minute ago in the chat, older women versus younger women. Is that not all Willie Lynch? Like, it literally lines up.
That's Willie Lynch.
Right?
Ageism,
some
racism,
people say that
sexism,
the letter,
classism. Yes.
Right. Some people say that the letter is not real, but I mean, look at the outcome. Right? Like, there's a reason why, like Mimi said, you've got grandmas that are 35 years old, whatever the case. And so a lot of this, I think, just kind of comes down to us not healing our wounds, right? Number one. But the other two is, or the other third point, I think, would be, I don't know how to say this without it sounding like offensive, but I'm going to just say it. I think that some of us, we've been like pushed down so much, whether that be by family or, external circumstances, society, whatever. I think as women, that there's a certain pride in being a little bit more braggadocious or a little bit more brazen and in your face. And it is packaged as like a sort of empowerment because you've been disempowered for so long. So you don't really have a correct gauge of what that would actually look like in retrospect to still being like in a dynamic with maybe a more masculine man, whatever the case. The fourth point I want to make is that a woman being assertive is not a threat to your masculinity. So if you feel like it is, to me, that's an issue that you would need to work on as a man.
Agreed.
Like, I don't understand how you can raise assertive daughters and want them to be able to handle themselves around men and around the foolishness that's out here, but then not want that same aspect to come out in your wife. Your wife is going to be the one raising your daughter. Wouldn't she have to see the example? It's not just about what we've been told, but it's about what's been modeled to us.
Right.
So if I'm acting out of character, or if there's something about me that is somewhat off in retrospect to how I'm able to receive and give love, that's because what was modeled to me was incorrect, right?
yes.
So first you would have to acknowledge that. You don't find empowerment by being the opposite of what you saw, and nor are you going to find it in being the exact same thing. You have to find your own way. So I think we're just kind of in this weird flux of trying to figure out what actually fits us. Like, do we go back to traditional times as our grandparents? Do we press forward into these new soft parenting techniques? Like, what do we do? Right? So I think that's kind of where the Black community is at. And I really feel like we got to stop listening to external influences, because other groups don't have the same issues that we do. They might have similar issues, but it's not exactly the same because they don't have the servitude and the degradation that we've had to experience as a people. So there's also that.
Wow.
But then also in our connections with each other, our relationships, I think you just have to make a decision to understand how you want to navigate and how the person that you're with navigates. If they kind of want to be the leader in the dynamic all the time and that doesn't really flow with you, like, actually speak up and say that. There's nothing wrong with, like I said, being assertive. But I think there's a line that's crossed when you're trying to damage someone's ego to puff yourself up, right? That's more so narcissism. So again, you have to do a lot of self-checks. And I just don't think we do a whole lot of those because, again, we're used to being on the bottom, constantly trying to rise to the top, even if it's on top of each other. That's the crabs in the barrel. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Attila, guess what you just did?
I brought Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building, but don't go nowhere. We got Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We got Denver, Colorado. The fire is just getting started. Let's go.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The White House is marking President's Day by posting President Trump's mugshot alongside his official portrait, calling it a, quote, comeback, end quote. The 2023 mugshot